This week on The Emerge Era, I chat with Libbie Janse van Rensburg, Springbok women's rugby player, elite athlete, and proud South African who's helping shape the future of women's rugby. In this episode, Libbie takes us back to where it all began.
So it happened so quickly. I didn't even have a chance to be like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a captain Springbok and I'm going to a World Cup.
Shares her journey to representing South Africa on the world stage and unpacks the growth of women's rugby.
What we're doing is making a
Actually
difference.
working,
People are recognizing us. People are starting to support us more. So it's incredible.
The opportunities still needed within the sport.
Coming from the successful World Cup that we've just had, I can definitely see that there's a lot of investment going into women's rugby. Unfortunately, we're not at school level yet. And I think that is the big thing for women's rugby at the moment.
And what it was really like competing at the Rugby World Cup. Whether you're an athlete chasing a dream or learning to believe in yourself again, this conversation is for you. Libbie, thank you so much for joining us on the Emerge Era podcast. It is absolutely incredible to have rugby royalty in our midst. Yes.
No, thanks for having me, Erin. Really excited to chat to you. But
I'm excited because I want to, I know people always see the Springbok jersey, and of course that's like a wow factor. They see all of the accolades and stuff like that. But where did everything begin for you? Who was Libbie before you were a Springbok?
I think Libbie before becoming a Springbok was, I want to say like a unsure kid.
Okay.
I didn't really have any thoughts of what is the future going to hold.
Wow.
It was like the worst question for me, especially in high school when they were like, what's your 5-year plan? And I was like,
wow.
well, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know which way I was going to go. I thought I wanted to study veterinary science after school.
Okay.
That didn't happen. And at that stage in my life, I was just kind of wondering, started studying because my auntie told me I must study something.
Okay.
And then the rugby thing just sort of fell into place from there. But even when I started, finding rugby while I was studying at the University of Pretoria, it wasn't like the moment I started playing rugby, I thought, I want to be a Springbok.
This is it,
I didn't know that we had a Springbok women's team. And especially back then, it wasn't something you could make a living of.
Yeah, exactly.
You would do it for the love of your country, but you had to have a 9-to-5 job at the end of the day. So it wasn't necessarily something that I put on my, my goals board of I want to become a Springbok. It happened so organically for me.
That's brilliant.
And I think I'm fortunate to have been part of women's rugby at such a time when it's been growing and there's so many women before us that, don't get the recognition for what they've done to get us where we are now.
Wow.
But for me to be part of the group that can say, we're professionally contracted, it's a full-time job now, it's so special.
It is so
like I said, it
brilliant.
wasn't something that I planned or I thought would ever happen. I'm just very fortunate to be in the position.
That's brilliant. I think it's excellent. It's like such an opportune time for you guys. And were you always into sport?
Yes.
Okay.
I was a naturally athletic child.
Amazing.
I looked for any reason to not be in the classroom and to be on the sports field. When they say, okay, the athletes must pack up early because we're going somewhere to do athletics or whatever. So I did every sport at school. I swam, I did hockey, I did athletics, everything. And we had an educator at our school that introduced touch rugby.
Okay.
To the girls and the boys. And I thought, oh, this is fun. So that was sort of my first interaction with a rugby ball was, playing touch. And from there was provincial touch rugby. Again, something that I didn't know. It's such a small sport. It's not well known. So I got into that, played provincial touch rugby. I played a touch rugby World Cup as well, which again, I didn't know was a thing. And I think a lot of people don't know that there is a World Cup for touch rugby.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So I did that. And then that sort of laid the foundation for me to get into the rugby, just having those basic ball skills.
Yeah, beautiful. And were you a competitive, most athletes are, but how competitive were you really?
Yes, I've always been very competitive, especially when I was younger. I think as I get older, you sort of learn to control your competitiveness a little bit better because I think it can get unhealthy if you want to be the best and you need to be the best, and especially when you are faced with setbacks or disappointments, how do you come back from that if you're such a competitive person? You need to be in the right mindset to understand that you're not always going to win. So you need to do what you can to be competitive, but accept the defeats when they come as well.
You need to learn how to manage those moments when you lose. Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, that's brilliant. And your parents, were they keen on you playing rugby? Because I know obviously Some households are like,
Yes.
girls must be princesses and they must, and you still are. I mean, you're a queen anyway, in your own right. But I'm just saying, like, there's always this misconception, like, that is not a girl's sport.
No, definitely.
How did your parents feel about you playing?
Look, when the rugby full contact thing came onto the table, look, Tux caught me with a free trip to Paris.
I mean, wow, why would I not?
I've never been to Paris. When am I ever going to go to Paris? Like, I'm going to do this. This sounds great. Yes, I'm going to play rugby. Went to my family and they were all very skeptical, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, as most people are,
would be
unsure, you know, also who's this guy that's taking these girls to Paris?
Sure.
You know, it's very weird, but I told them, well, I'm going to try this. They've never been the kind of people to tell me I shouldn't try something.
Hold you back, yeah.
Obviously, they had their concerns, but I was just like, well, I'm going to do this. I want to go to Paris. I don't know anything about rugby, but I want to go to Paris. Let's see how this goes. So there was a little bit of resistance, but there was never a, no, rugby isn't for girls kind of a thing. I think.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a thing that I think we struggle with in South Africa. For young girls coming in, there is that stigma, you know, this thing of women shouldn't play rugby. Yeah. But I think we're slowly starting to change that now.
100%. No, definitely. And so just with, obviously, with young girls playing, obviously having the opportunity, are there clear pathways for them to sort of pursue rugby if they want to? Because is it happening at school level? Obviously provincial level, I know there's club rugby and all of that, but like, is there a clear pathway if they would want to be?
Look, I think coming from the successful World Cup that we've just had, I can definitely see that there's a lot of investment going into women's rugby. Unfortunately, we're not at school level yet. And I think that is the big thing for women's rugby at the moment. Like you said, there is provincial, there's provincial under 16, there's provincial under 18, there's club rugby. But for a young girl that's maybe 10 or 11 who sees us in green and gold and thinks, oh, I want to be a rugby player, she has to wait until she's 16 to play at a club. Okay. So until we, you know, fine-tune that system and get rugby in schools, I think we're still going to struggle a little bit with developments. As I say, there has definitely been a massive improvement and a massive influx of girls interested in playing rugby. But I think, you know, over the next couple of years, hopefully we can see some schools coming on board. There are a couple of schools that have their girls training, but again, they're just training. Yeah. And you can't just train for something if you're never going to actually play the sport. You're going to lose interest. Absolutely. You know? So I think, in a couple of years, I hope that changes. But I think that's the biggest problem that we have at the moment.
I read somewhere that you were in New Zealand. You played in New Zealand for a while. What was that all about?
Yes. While I was studying, I saw on Facebook there was a promotion for a scholarship at a rugby academy in New Zealand. And I thought, well, this is cool. Let me see if I can get there. And they gave me a 50% scholarship. Had to crowdfund the rest to get myself there. Oh, wow. But it was such a great experience. I was there for 4 months. Okay. You know, living there, experiencing their rugby culture, learning a lot about things related to rugby that I didn't think I would need. Because at that time in my life, I was so focused on just playing sevens. I wasn't even considering playing 15s because 15s is a lot. Yeah. A lot of contact, a lot of everything. So I think sevens is like easing your way into that contact a little bit. But the moment I got into that academy, you know, it wasn't you're a sevens player, you're a 15s player. It's rugby. It's rugby. And everything was rugby related. And I think the things that I learned there sort of prepared me to transition into the 15 games a lot easier. Okay.
And the culture there, like rugby culture?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it's so interesting. Like there's so many girls that were in the academy there and the boys that now are playing for their national teams as well. And it's so cool to look back, you know, 2019 when we were all there, young kids, you know, just playing rugby, all living in a house together. It was such a great experience. But to see how everyone like furthered their careers is amazing.
And so talk to me about that moment when you became a Springbok. Like, what was that like for you? Did you know it was coming? What did you feel like? I mean, that is like monumental.
I didn't ever think that it would happen. Okay. I just had so many setbacks, especially in the sevens system. I had so many setbacks. I just never could get my cap, Sure. And I came to a point where I was like, oh, you know what, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You know,
made peace with it,
And the moment I started playing 15s, it's like everything happened so quickly. I played my first 15 games at the Bulls, and like 3 months later, I got caught up to the Springbok camp, played my first test, and then went to a World Cup all in like the span of 6 months. So it happened so quickly. I didn't even have a chance to be like, whoa. Yeah. You know, I'm a capped Springbok and I'm going to a World Cup. I didn't actually appreciate, I think, the magnitude of the moment. But thinking back to it now, like, oh, this young girl, you know, playing her first cap, it's so special.
It's a dream come true.
Special,
No, it's beautiful. And obviously you guys then went to the World Cup. What was that experience like for you? I saw all of your fun TikToks. I was like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. Like, and you look so calm and chill. Like, you look so chill. I'm like, this one is having a party on the other side. But obviously, it's the way you guys obviously prepare that make you feel confident. And I mean, obviously, you're having fun as well.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
I think going into that World Cup, we as a team had our goals that we knew, okay, we're going to beat Brazil. We're going to beat Italy's going to be the game, the make or break game for us. So there was a plan for us that we set to get to the quarterfinals.
Okay.
And I think everyone for the first time in our team was so, in on this plan that Coach Swaits gave us.
Okay.
Everyone was so focused that we knew, when we have off, you get away from the rugby and you do your nice things. And the moment that we back in the field or back in the teaming room, then it's, all hands on deck for us to get to this common goal. And I think that's what made us so successful, is the fact that every single girl, whether they played or didn't play, had their part to play in getting us there.
Absolutely. And I think, like maybe just speak about what is the mindset that you have to be on a field like that and to be at the, the World Cup, because it's not a small feat. And I think, like you say, sometimes you don't appreciate the magnitude of what's actually taking place and what it takes to actually be on that field. How do you prepare your mind for something like that?
I think the biggest challenge for our girls especially is getting to something like a World Cup and playing in front of a sold out stadium. I mean, that's not something we have at home.
Yes.
Or whenever we play anywhere, you never have those masses of
huge
people.
crowd, yeah.
So being able to prepare yourself mentally for the amount of people, the difficulty to communicate on the field when there's so much noise going on. It's such a big thing for our girls because we're not used to it. But finding a way to sort of manage your anxiety as well, because obviously it's natural when you're playing in front of 50,000 people. To get a little bit anxious, to get a bit nervous. But I think within our squad, we have such a good support system from the management. We have psychologists available for us to help. And I think especially for the younger girls, when they see the more senior girls making use of these things that we have and the different methods, to prepare for a game, to get yourself in that zen zone. They see that it's, it's okay to stress. We're all stressing a little bit. There is anxiety, but you just need to control it to make sure that it doesn't get out of control at the end of the day.
100%. Yeah. And obviously you guys, played the quarterfinals. And I mean, like, what did that feel like? Was the country backing you?
Yeah.
I know we were backing you, yes, but like, what is the support feel like from
It was amazing. I think it's the first time that the women truly felt like the country was behind us. There were so many people reaching out. All the sponsors that are on board, like we really felt so special. Even now that we're back home, like a sponsor like FNB still does so much for our team off of the field as well. Like, we can definitely feel the shift happening in women's rugby. And I think that also gives a little bit more fuel to the girls, a little bit more motivation. And something to be like, what we're doing is making a difference. People are recognizing us. People are starting to support us more. So it's incredible.
Yeah. And like, what does it mean to you to be so like, instrumental in the change that's taking place? Because sometimes you don't necessarily know because you're in the moment.
Yes.
But like, if you were to just like step back and look at literally what's taking place, how does it feel to be part of something so huge?
I think it's such there's actually not a word to describe like how proud I am to be able to say that I was part of this group of girls, or I, left my mark in women's rugby. This is what I did to take the sport forward. And I think all of the girls in our squad feel that way. We know that, rugby is not a long career. You're not going to be playing it for the rest of your life. So while you have that short time to be on the field, to be in that environment, you need to make sure that you leave your mark. And like we always say, leave the jersey in a better place.
Beautiful. And do you feel like it's tough for you girls on the field and in the country?
Definitely. I think we have our struggles, we have our battles. Obviously, now that we've had such a successful World Cup, we're seeing a lot more positive things, a lot more people supporting us. But I mean, prior to that, there were struggles, and there's always going to be the people, whether you can be the best person in the world in whatever field you are, but there's always going to be people that, speak bad about you or have negative things to say. And I think, just sort of putting that aside and focusing on the good that we've done for women's rugby and for sport in our country, that is just the main focus for us.
Yeah. A huge thank you to Dental Impressions for partnering with the Emerge era. A confident smile can change the way you show up in the world. And Dental Impressions is passionate about helping people achieve healthy, beautiful smiles through exceptional dental care. Thank you for helping our community smile with confidence. Was there ever a moment where you felt like, this is not for me. I'm so done. I'm dik. Ek gaan nou uitloop.
Yes. Yes, there was a moment. It was after COVID, before I became a Springbok. So I'd been playing sevens rugby throughout my student career, started working, I was still playing sevens, in and out of the sevens system, but just never getting a cap, nothing ever happened. And I was always like, I don't understand why. I don't know. Then COVID hits and I thought, okay, now I'm going to just become an adult, focus on my 9 to 5, hang up the boots.
Yeah.
And the moment COVID sort of started easing up, that's when the Blue Bulls coach phoned me and he was like, listen, the Women's World Cup that time had been postponed with a year because of COVID.
Because of COVID, okay.
He thinks if I give 15s a chance that I'll be able to make the team. And I was like, okay, let's give it another crack and let's see what happens. And
brilliant.
The 15s opened up so many doors for me. I mean, the moment I got my 15s cap, you know, then the sevens came knocking, all the sponsors started coming in. So I think that was really a breakthrough moment for me. And it was a moment where I was like, am I going to call it? Am I not? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very defining moment in my career.
That's brilliant. And obviously you fly off, right? You play fly off. So that, in my understanding, I mean, I'm not like well versed in rugby, but in my understanding, it's a lot. It's more of a leadership role, right?
Yes.
So you like sort of controlling everything. What does that feel like to you? Because you have to sort of have good relationships with all of your team members, and like, what is the fight when it comes to playing that
so they
position?
say the fly off is the general on the team. That's the person that sort of has to. You play more of a chess game than a rugby game in your head, because you are the person that needs to figure out how we're going to take the team forward. What's the next move? You need to think 3 phases ahead, those kind of things. So there's definitely a lot of pressure in playing fly off. And I always joke and I say, like, when a team wins, then everyone says, oh, the team did so well. But the moment a team loses, then it's like, oh, the fly off was so bad, you know? So there's definitely a lot of pressure when it comes to playing fly off. But I think as we've grown as a team, the team understands each different position's roles and what's expected of you on the field. And they take to the instruction really well. So they know that I'm the person that sees
calling
the space, that will call certain plays, and there's reasons, there's method to the madness. Obviously, you have the coach's plan, which I then need to sort of memorize and learn, and this is what we're going to do in whatever area on the field, and then just to do what I can to take the team forward. But it is definitely a very high pressure position to be playing.
Wow. And so, like, is there anything that you do to sort of like keep your head in the game and prepare when you're preparing? Obviously, you're now memorizing the plays and all of that, but what else? Do you build relationships with the rest of the, the girls to make sure, like, what is there anything specific that you do?
I think for me, our group is so well connected. I think the World Cup brought us together so well. So like I say, everyone knows, especially like fly off, scrum off, relationship needs to be really good, because that's how my communication sort of goes
to the rest.
To the number 9, and then she'll give it to the forwards, and then I'll communicate to the backs again. So that connection definitely has to be the strongest, and you sort of have to know how each other play, how each other think. And I know that all the girls on the team trust me enough to, whatever the call makes, they'll back me, whether it was the right call or the wrong call. I think we're in such a healthy position as a group. But in terms of like pre-game prep, I like to just go through my notes, not get overly excited too soon. So I just try to sort of stay calm, listen to more relaxing music, and then as soon as we get on the bus on the way to the field, then we start listening to more pumped up music, staying in the zone, still going through all my moves, all my plays in my head. I'll close my eyes and think, okay, what's the first kickoff going to look like? If they kick to us, this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to call, those kind of things. So it's just sort of like a game rehearsal thing that I do prior to the game. Just
so like a mental
I'll mentally watch the game and envision myself, okay, doing this, doing that, just so that when it happens on the field, I've seen it before. I know what the plan is. I'm not like sort of bomb shocked when I'm on the field.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's amazing. And okay, so let's talk about just like your training, your gym. What does that look like? How often are you guys training? Do you train separately from the team? What is that?
So when we're in camp, we have field sessions together. We have our gym sessions where the backs and the forwards are usually split. But a day will be full of team meetings. We'll have a field session where all the girls are together. That's usually an hour long. And then you have your units where the forwards do their scrums, their mauls, those things, and the back line runs their moves for about 30 minutes. And then we'll have an hour gym session every day. We usually have Wednesdays off. So we'll train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday rest, Thursday, Friday. Depending on when we're playing test matches. Obviously, if we have a test match on Saturday, then Friday will be jersey presentation, those kind of things. So you don't train on a Friday then. But it is, you know, it's difficult, I think, especially for the girls that are from more rural areas. When we're not in camp, the moment we go home, to find places to train, to maintain yourself as an athlete.
Absolutely.
Obviously, not all of the girls are at a professional rugby union. I'm fortunate enough to be signed with the Bulls Daisies, who is a full-time professional union. So I have access to the gym, I have access to a physio when we're at home. But unfortunately, the other unions don't have that. So for those girls, when they go home, you know, it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication from their side to make sure that they stay in shape when we're not together as a group.
Wow, that's tough. And nutrition, what does that look like?
Nutrition is very healthy when we're in camp. We have a dietitian that travels with us.
Brilliant.
She sets the menu from the hotel's point of view. They'll give us our menu. She obviously also looks after, you know, your post-training recovery, protein shakes, hydration, all of those kinds of things. And they'll provide us with the supplementation that we need. Especially if you're not in camp, if you're going home, maybe you won't have access to you know, the healthiest of foods. So then she'll help you supplement. And they're very good at guiding us and educating the girls on alternatives of what you can look at to make sure that you're eating like a professional athlete.
Do you ever experience moments of self-doubt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what generally sort of triggers that?
It's, I don't think there's necessarily something, one thing that triggers it. I think as I've gone through my career, it'll just be like randomly when I'm like, maybe I'm not the person for this. Maybe, I mean, you know, now that there's so many young girls wanting to play rugby, I'm so eager to see the next generation come in. But I often do think, you know, am I the one who should be doing this? Maybe there are other players. So self-doubt is definitely, you know, it's constantly there. But I think, you know, speaking to the right people, learning how to manage those feelings, manage the emotions, you know, recognize the thought when it comes in and then just let it go out the back door. You know, don't dwell on these kinds of things. And I think as you mature in sport and in life, you sort of realize the importance of that and not crushing yourself with all the overthinking and those kind of things.
Because you have to trust your ability to actually perform in any case. Like you can't be on the field and like wondering, oh my gosh, am I not? Do you know what I mean? Because at that point, it's pressure and you need to deliver. So so let's talk a bit about like making a mistake on the field. And I guess this translates into any area of your life as well. So like, do you pick yourself up immediately? What is your mindset? So if you missed a kick or whatever, what does the rest of your game look like after that?
I think that again ties into, you know, having that self-doubt. The moment you make a mistake, then it sort of enhances that, oh, I knew I'm not the right person, kind of you know, those kind of thoughts. But I think, as I mentioned before, the group that we have at the moment are so supportive and we're such a tight group that mistakes happen. It's part of sport. We know that, you know, in sport, mistakes are going to happen. No one's ever going to have a perfect game. But just being able to pick up a teammate next to you, you know, having them pick me up. There's been times in the field where my teammates have made me believe in myself more than I believed in myself walking onto the field. You know, just having that, knowing that they trust you so much to, you know, take the penalty kick, for example. When I'm like, oof, I don't know, can I do it? Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe we should do something else. And they're like, no, Libbie, you can, you know. So having those kind of players around you on the field, I think definitely helps that. But it's still difficult because even though you hear everyone saying, you know, oh, it's fine, you know, shake it off, next job, whatever, you do still have that little seed of doubt. But I think as a professional athlete, you learn to push it to the side. You know, the game's only so long. You can't dwell on things too long when you 100%. Only have 80 minutes to play.
I love that. I watched, you know, Lewis Hamilton. Do you watch F1?
Yes.
And I just like watched him over the past couple of years. And I was just like, you know, he went through this like deep, like this dip that he's, you know, experienced so many, well, not losses, but I mean, he's really not been at his A game. And I just think the attitude that he carried throughout that time was so brilliant for me because you could really see this is a champion. Like at every single interview, he would never badmouth anyone. He would never badmouth himself. He would never talk down to himself. He'd always be like, no, you know, this is just like a season. You know, we're going to do better next time. Oh, this happened, that happened. But, you know, we're working at it and, you know, we're going to come back stronger. And literally I was like, this guy is like next level insane when it comes to his mindset. And he's living in himself. And I just thought like, wow, this is like champion talk. Like this is champion mindset and champion behavior. And it's something that you can take into your life and implement it in any area of your life. Because yes, you will have down moments. Yes, you will have losses. Yes, you will have seasons that feel like, you know, it's so challenging that you can't carry on.
Yeah.
But the sun will rise again.
Exactly.
You know, like there is going to be, the season must change. Winter doesn't last forever. And I think, and that's why I love watching athletes, and I love, you know, just like following them, because I just see that tenacious spirit, and that that spirit of like, you know what, this is not the end. Something, you know, there is something that can change out of the situation. So I thought that was really, really cool.
And like you say, like athletes just have that mentality of
it's brilliant.
You cannot dwell over things that happened in the past. And the victories are only so sweet because of those setbacks that you faced, and you know, the hard times that you've been through. You just have to do what you have to do to make sure you're in the right mindset. And when it happens for you.
Yeah, because sometimes the victories are incredible, but the lows are also
the lows are extremely low.
Yeah,
no,
and you need to learn how to manage it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Are there any like milestones in your rugby journey that you know, things that sort of was a life-defining moment for you?
Yes, the Olympics. Olympic Games is definitely... So sevens became an Olympic sport in 2016. I was still a student, and I thought, whatever I do in my life, if they ever send a South African women's team to the Olympics, I need to make sure that I'm on that team.
Love that.
And I remember even during COVID, when I was training at home, in my mind, what kept me going was imagining myself playing in Olympic Games, and with, you know, the different competitors or chasing down different people. That is what kept me going throughout COVID, was just thinking of the Olympic Games. And our ladies qualified. I think they qualified for the 2016 or the next Olympic Games, and SASCOC didn't send the team. And I was like, okay, well,
oh my gosh,
maybe the next one. And I think the next one came, and again, they didn't send our team. And then in 2024, Olympic Games, the ladies qualified, and they said, okay, they're finally going to send the women's team. And I was like, now I need to do what I can do to get myself on this team.
Wow.
And that, honestly, I think was one dream that I never thought would come true. I just thought that I would miss it, because the prior years when they had qualified, I wasn't in the system. I wasn't, you know, considered for those teams during that time. So I thought, maybe I'm going to miss it. Maybe the team will go and I won't go.
Yeah.
So everything, just the timing of everything was so good.
Brilliant.
But I think just being able to go to the Olympic Games, I was like, now I can breathe
dream come
easily,
true.
like a dream come true, to be able to be there, the pinnacle of sports in the world with all of these athletes. It was incredible.
That's amazing. What did the Olympics teach you?
I think the Olympics taught me that, yes, you have the best of the best, but when we were there, we are all the best in our different sporting codes. So in terms of just the rugby, you shouldn't look at the other teams or other rugby players and think of yourself as less than them, because we're all there. We all work equally hard to be there. We are all Olympians at the end of the day.
Yes.
So I think it was a leveling moment for me to see all these people and to rub shoulders with greatness and realize like, I shouldn't be fangirling over these people, because actually we're the same. We are actually the same.
That's brilliant. I love that. Okay, cool. What do you think South Africa still needs to do to close the gap with leading in women's rugby?
Look, I think the biggest problem for us in women's rugby in South Africa is just the developmental pathway.
Yeah.
We need to improve that. We need to get girls into women's rugby at a younger age, so that they, you know, by the time they're 19, they could come into the senior setup and they have all the skills, they've mastered the skills, they have experience, and that'll also, you know, extend their careers when they start playing professional rugby. I mean, I only started playing professionally when I was 24, 25.
Wow.
So there's a couple of years there that
absolutely
definitely could have made the difference. And I think just to continue supporting the ladies, especially when we have home games, like having people come out to support the games, exposing the women's rugby to more young girls, and just trying to get more sponsors. I think the more sponsors we get, the more exposure we'll get as well. So there's definitely a lot of small things. Things have changed in the last couple of years, which is fantastic. But I think we still have a lot to do before we get to a point where let's say we even to the men.
Do you have like little girls coming up to you guys at games and stuff like that?
Yes.
And obviously you like role models to
a
them.
lot of little girls and little boys as well.
Really?
Like it's very sweet to see that we're not just inspiring girls or women, like we're inspiring young boys. We're inspiring dads to let their girls, their daughters play rugby. So it's really incredible.
Yeah, you're affecting the whole
ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you tell a girl that, you know, loves sports, but does not necessarily see a lot of people like her playing it. Like, what would you, just a word of encouragement to a young girl that wants to play either rugby or any other sport?
I think you shouldn't shy away from your dreams. Doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, what you look like. If you have that feeling in your heart that you really want to pursue something, do it.
Yeah.
Don't let people hold you back. And don't let the negative comments or people telling you that you can't do it affect you. Set your eye on the prize and get those people that support you closer. Because I think a good support system is so important for an athlete to get to where they want to be. You need to have people that you can rely on when you're at your lowest and when you're at your highest as well. So surround yourself with the right people and don't stop until you reach your goal.
Brilliant. I love that. Thank you so much. We're going to do some rapid fire questions quickly and then we'll be done. Okay, cool. You ready?
Yes.
Yes. 15s or 7s?
Oh, there was a time in my life where I would have said 7s, but now I'm going to say 15s.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Kicking practice or a gym session?
Kicking practice.
Oh, of course. Okay. Early morning training or late afternoons?
Early morning training.
Okay. The teammate who makes everyone laugh?
Dolph. Boundary Dolph.
Okay.
Yeah.
What position does she play?
Fullback. Number 15, yeah.
Okay, cool. Your toughest opponent?
Toughest opponent? Oh, New Zealand.
Okay.
It's got a bone to pick with New Zealand, but we'll meet them again.
Okay, cool. Your favorite stadium?
Favorite stadium, Stade de France. Played there in the Olympic Games and it was absolutely incredible.
I saw
yeah,
on
it was
your
amazing.
stories. Wow. Like when you just the fact that you showed like what you showed, I was like, oh my God,
no, it was
huge.
Incredible.
Beautiful.
Incredible.
Okay. Your most memorable rugby jersey?
My most memorable rugby jersey, I'm going to have to say, was my 30th cap, and it happened to be the quarterfinal game that we played at the World Cup.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. One song that gets you ready for a match?
Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, cool. One word your teammates would describe you, use to describe you?
Stern, maybe.
Yeah. Well, you need to be.
Yeah, I need it.
Yeah, you need
to sometimes be a bit strict with them.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. The best advice a coach has ever given you?
Okay, can I say it in okay?
Yeah, you can say it in Afrikaans.
I'll say it in English. So a coach once told me I must play the ball to play with. So
okay.
What he means is pass, because obviously as a fly-off, you're always passing. But I need a pass to go play with. So don't just pass and it's done. Okay. Pass and play with.
Okay, please can you say it in Afrikaans now?
Speel om saam te speel.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay, cool. One young South African player we should be watching.
Oh, there's so many. Dolphy, I think, is young, but she has been around for a while now. And I think people realize how good she is. There's a lot of fresh young talent coming in.
Okay.
I think Anastasia Minnaar is definitely a young girl that we can keep an eye out for. She's just sort of started integrating into the senior setup now, and I think we're going to see a lot more of her going into the future.
Brilliant. Okay. What does wearing green and gold mean to you?
Oh, it means the world. It means pride. It means family. It means love for my country. All of the above.
Amazing. Thank you
Erin.
so much. It was brilliant chatting to you. I hope we get to do it again.
Yes.
When is the next World Cup?
2029.
29.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
No,
and I think for me, like I just feel like there's so much more space and room for South Africans to get to know the female rugby players and the team.
Definitely.
And to just sort of like, the way they idolize and the way they, just are in awe of the men.
Yes.
Like there is no reason why we shouldn't have that same sort of affinity to the women.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping like in the next couple of years, even before you guys go, that's going to be sort of like just increased on a whole nother scale and a whole nother level. People need to know your names. Little girls need to see that they can do exactly what you do. And that when I look at you guys, I always feel like, oh, that's really my heart to see you guys just idolized and just getting the accolades and the love and the support and attention that you so deserve, because you're cutting a path and it's tough.
Yeah.
You pioneer something new. It's
tough to be the first to do a lot of things.
Yeah, and you don't always get the recognition, but you guys are doing an incredible job. And thank you so much. Thank you for inspiring our girls. Thank you for inspiring women across South Africa. We really appreciate it.
No, it's lovely. And I think there's enough room in women's sport for everyone.
Absolutely.
And it's good for young girls to see that they can make a living out of, playing women's rugby.
Yeah, 100%.
So get involved.
Yeah. Yes, will do. Thank you, Libbie.
Thank you, Erin.
Before you go, I'd love to invite you to join the Emerge Era community. Subscribe to the channel, like this episode if it encouraged you, and share it with another woman who could use this reminder today.